And so, Kevin, as we keep things moving here, let's get to the 49ers offseason moves. And I put offseason moves rather than free agency moves because there are a lot of departures. And as Dad Dent, a.k.a. Smooth, said in the comments, gang, what are we doing? It seems like they are doing a soft reset. And they're not going all in like Kevin may suggest later on that they should. But it seems like they're doing a soft reset, going back to the draft. I mean, we see before I get into my whole thoughts on that, let me just name all the guys that are gone. And rather than trying to act like, oh, Farrell, the tight end from the Jaguars, that's great. Demarcus Robinson, the wide receiver from the Rams. I mean, that's probably my favorite moves of all of them so far, but the bar is very low. And so rather than us spending a lot of time getting into just the additions that the 49ers made, guys, let's get into all the players that have moved on because it is quite a lot for our 49ers, Jaevon. And as Kevin's dad just said, gang, what are we doing? It's our responsibility now, Jaevon, to try and explain what the 49ers are doing. So the departures as of this morning are the following. As we covered in depth last week, the 49ers traded away wide receiver Deebo Samuel. And I will just add this too. You guys probably noticed that I caught up on our Instagram group chat today after like not opening it for like a month and a half. And it's just because like I really like to look at things and actually like give a reaction to things and like actually look at them myself rather than just scrolling through. And going through some of the things from the last like month and a half, I saw potential deals that the 49ers could get for Deebo Samuel, and everything was way better than what they actually got. It was like a second-round pick, a third-round pick, this player. They got a fifth-round pick. So anyways, back to the point. 49ers traded away Deebo Samuel. They cut fullback Kyle Juszczyk, defensive end Leonard Floyd, defensive tackle Javon Hargrave, and Kevin nailed that one as he shared in our group chat a couple years ago. He absolutely nailed that when the signing happened. Defensive tackle Malik Collins, and the following players left in free agency. I just mentioned quarterback Josh Dobbs. Also, this one hurts. This one hurts me deeply. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw, as well as cornerback Travarius Moody Ward, safety Talanoa Hufanga, guard Aaron Banks, offensive tackle Jalen Moore, and running back Elijah Mitchell. So, Jaevon. Yeah, it's a lot. So, Jaevon, I toss this to you, and I just will put Dad Dent's question back up on the screen because it's relevant. Gang, Niner gang, what are we doing, Jaevon?
Well, a bunch of the guys on that list kind of knew we were leaving, like Hufanga. I knew Mooney Ward was leaving. Dre Greenlaw was kind of up in the air because you knew he wanted a little bit more money on the contract side. We were trying to give him basically a prove-it deal. Yeah, I mean, Deebo Samuel, he made a lot of money. Hasn't played well for us. Knew it was time for him to get up and bounce. A lot of guys on the list. Juice kind of shocked me. Kyle Juszczyk. He took a pay cut last year. Was unhappy about it. Kind of voiced his opinion on that. So you saw that was coming. It seems like the Niners are trying to cut back on a lot of expensive players, older players. A lot of the Aaron Banks. I don't know if Shaun mentioned Aaron Banks was another guy for us. Jalen Moore. A lot of the guys that are leaving free agency are going to good teams, like playoff teams. So clearly they're valued around the league by other good teams. They're on a lot of those guys were tenured on our team. And pretty much all of those guys that you named were drafted, except for like Mooney Ward, got in free agency. Like guys like Hufanga we found in the 5th round. Dre Greenlaw was I think 4th round, 5th round pick. Hargrave was a guy that we found in free agency. Elijah Mitchell was a guy that we drafted. Was just hurt all the time. It kind of just we got to get back to our roots in a sense. We drafted a lot of these players in the later rounds. I mean, hell, Brock Purdy was last pick in the draft, and he's just expecting a $55+ million contract. So the Niners, what they're telling you through their free agent moves are saying, we got to go younger. We need to get into the draft, and we got to work out. The Niners have 11 picks coming up in the 2025 NFL draft, which is in a little over a month. We gotta hit it. Kev was saying we need to hit a bunch of singles. We need to hit some doubles. We need to hit some triples, home runs. We need to do whatever. And I don't know if the Niners are done cutting players. Brandon Ayuk has been in trade talks. Per Diana Rossini, Mike Silver, I've been seeing. The Niners are trying to. Maybe they're kind of regretting the contract because Brandon Ayuk played 7-8 games last year. Tears his ACL. Not saying Ayuk isn't a great player, but he's hurt and he's making a lot of money. So we're not seeing any ROI on that investment at all. Saw a lot of great things from Ricky Pearsall last year, at the end of last year, that is. Jawan Jennings was stuff for us last year when Brandon Ayuk went down, so he stepped up in that role. Obviously, George Kittle, who's going to be a Hall of Famer. Hopefully, he'll retire a 49er. He's still there. Brock Purdy, I thought he played well in spots last year, but obviously the team was 6-11, so he didn't play well enough. The defense, Bobby Saleh's coming back. We let go of a shit ton of players on defense. And the one guy who I actually thought was a shoe-in to come into the San Francisco 49ers, he's going to Buffalo. I don't know.
He being Joey Bosa that we've been alluding to nonstop.
Yeah, I don't know what the Niners are doing as far as free agency goes. We made a couple of signings today. DeMarcus Robinson, hey, whoop-de-doo. We signed a tight end from Jacksonville. I think it was pretty good in fantasy.
Luke Farrell.
He was good in fantasy the last couple of years, or the last couple of games last season. We just signed a safety from the Giants. I mean, this draft.
You don't even know his name? You can't even say his name?
Kevin, the draft is. I'm not even worrying. I'm just the draft right now. The NFL draft. Mm-hmm. Kev, you could clip this probably. I think the Niners got to go out and make a splash in the draft. Go get Travis Hunter. Trade up. We're at 11. We would probably have to trade up into the top 4 to go and get him.
And tell them what you think they should trade for. Hold on, Shaun. You want to hear this?
We have 11 picks in the draft. I said 2 2s and 2 3s, and I said a pick swap. Why not? I mean, you trade.
Why not? Well, I'm Toddy. I just have to jump in here.
With the team in New England, they're desperate for players, so they would still get a top 12 pick. You could probably go. My guess is what they would try to do is get Travis Hunter. You could get a guy in Will Johnson, who was one of the best cornerbacks in football before he got hurt. I think he had like a hamstring injury. That's what I saw reported. But that's a guy that the Niners, who were probably projected to draft at that spot. So you can go and get corner. Well, they already have a corner in Christian Gonzalez, but my guess is Travis Hunter doesn't make it out of the top 4 because 2 quarterbacks I would envision go into the top 4 and the best defensive player, which is Abdul Carter, and then Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner. You could argue he could go 5 because some teams might go out and get Will Campbell, which is arguably the best tackle in the NFL draft. But I mean, that'd be a splash. He'd be a playmaker on offense and defense, primarily mostly on defense because we just lost a quarter in Travarius Ward, Pro Bowl corner out that. We do have Diamador Lenore, who I think can definitely be a Pro Bowl corner based off the money he was given this past offseason. So the Niners got to make some things happen in this draft. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We have a 4th place schedule coming up. Went 6-11 last year, lost a shit ton of players. We're going to pay our quarterback an enormous amount of money, and we're like, players are bleeding out as we speak. Like, we're dropping guys like flies. How are we going to pay our quarterback a shit ton of money and lose players? It doesn't make sense.
Well, to that same point, though, and I want to follow up on what you said about Travis Hunter, because you're almost contradicting yourself here, where you're saying all I'm looking forward to is the draft,